Okay, so I want you to make sure before you get started for writing today that you're in a comfortable spot where you can do your best handwriting. So make sure you're not sitting near a TV or something that is loud. You need to be sitting in a nice, comfortable, quiet spot. Once you've found a comfortable spot, I want you to make sure you've got your dotted paper to write on, and then you need to make sure you have your ruler, your red lead, and your grey lead, okay? Once you've got those things, the first thing we're going to do is rule up our page. So I'm going to get my red lead. So when we rule our margin, we have to make sure the ruler is on the left-hand side of the page. This is the left-hand side. And it's a nice straight line, and then I need to go across for my title. So yours should look like that. Now you should have already watched the video that Cara read out for you. That's called A Bear is a Bear. So after you've watched the video, that's when you can watch the video now, and then you're going to do your own independent writing. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do after ruling my margin here is I need a title and a date. So I'm going to use the title of the book, and you're allowed to do the title of the book too, or you can change it. So remember, the title has to be in grey lead, so I'm going to use my black, and it's A Bear is a Bear. So you need to start with a capital letter. So a bear is a bear. And then in the top right hand corner you need the date. So today's date's the 23rd. So 23/4/20. So after you've done that, you need to think about what happened at the start of the book, because today we're only doing two things, our sizzling start and our backfill. And remember, the sizzling start only has to be a short, simple sentence, and it has to you have to make sure the reader is engaged. So I'm going to go back and use my colours again. And I'm going to use blue for my sizzling start. And I'm going to start right up here in the top corner against my red margin. Okay, and I'm starting with a capital letter. But before I start, I need to actually think of a sizzling start. So you have to put your thinking caps on and think really hard about how you can start your story. So I remember at the start of the book, the bear didn't know what type of animal he actually was. So I might start it with a question today. So I'm pretending like I'm the bear in the story. So I might say, what type of animal am I? So I'm going to start with a capital letter again. What type of animal am I? Now, if I've asked a question, which I have, I'm not going to end in a full stop. It needs a question mark. And I want you to look carefully. My writing, it's not too big and it's not too small. Okay? So I want you to make sure when you're writing today that you're looking at the size of your letters as well. Okay, so I've done my sizzling start. It's only one short sentence and it's a question. What type of animal am I? Next comes the backfill. So in our backfill, remember the cards we use, and we use these for extending the noun group too. We need the noun, okay? So the what's in the story, like what can you see? A who's in the story. So we already know there's bear, and there's some other characters too. So in your backfill, I want you to think about who's in the story, what's happening, and where are they, okay? So try and think what happened at the start of the book, okay? Have a think, put your thinking caps back on. Take a moment to think. So I remember the bear talking about how he was walking through the forest trying to think about what animal he was. Now I've got my idea, I need to think about how I'm going to write that in a simple sentence that flows and makes sense. Okay, because that's our writing goal. So maybe something like, I walk through the forest every day and think about what animal I can be. I might start with that. So every day I walk through the forest and now I'm actually going to do a sound box for the word think. Okay, and that's when we use our phoneme fingers and our thrush chart to help us. So I want you to say after me, think. Now we're using our phoneme fingers, so I've got mine behind my back and we're going to make each sound in think. Ready? Here we go. F, I, N, K. How many phonemes are in that word? So I can see there's 4 phonemes. Remember, a phoneme is a sound and we need 4 sound boxes now. So I'm actually going to write a sound box here. And I need 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This first box has a dotted line down it. I wonder if you can remember from last week what that means. When there is a dotted line down a box, it's called a digraph. And remember, a digraph is a 2-letter spelling choice. So they're 2 letters that make one sound, okay? So think back to the word think. And I'm going to use red and blue. Remember, consonants is blue and red are vowels. So the vowels is when our mouths open when we make the sound, like O. So that would be a vowel. So that's red. So the first sound in think is th, as in thumb. So those 2 letters are a T and a H. So I'm going to put, and that, my mouth's not open, so it's blue. So think, I. So I want you to look at my mouth, I. My mouth's open, so it has to be a vowel, so I know it's going to be red. So it's I as in tin. So it's an I. So I'm going to put an I in the next one. I. As in net, so my mouth's closed a little bit, so it's going to be an N. And then K. Now it's K. Not K as in cat, but it's K as in kitten. So that's a K. And this letter can be a little bit tricky to write, the K. So I'm going to start at the top of the dotted line. I'm going all the way down, up, around, down, and flick for the K. You can practice that one if you find it tricky. So I've done my sound box for think. Now I need to keep writing. So every day I walk through the forest and think, what animal I can be. And make sure that you've read that and that it makes sense. And then I remember the bear saying, I wonder if I can be a squirrel. Remember he looked up in the tree and he could see the squirrel? So I'm actually going to add that into my backfill. I think you can always have 2 sentences in your backfill. So I'm going to say, capital letter, because there's a full stop there. I wonder oh, I made a mistake then. So what do we do if we make a mistake? We just put 1 line through it and we keep going. So I wonder if I'm a squirrel. Full stop. So I've done my sizzling start in blue here and my backfill in orange. But remember, I want you to write in it with a grey lead. You're not using colours. The colours is just for me to help you. Okay? So once you think, yeah, I'm finished my sizzling start and backfill, you have to go back through and read it to check if it flows and makes sense. So I'm going to go all the way back to the start. So a bear is a bear. What type of animal am I? Every day I walk through the forest and think what animal I can be. I wonder if I'm a squirrel. So mine flows and makes sense. I've only got that one mistake, which I put a line through, so that's okay. If you made a mistake, you just put a line through it. You don't colour it in, or else our workbooks look messy. And then I'm ready now for tomorrow to do my problem, so my pebble and my rock, and the ending of my story. So I want you to stop after you've checked it. We'll do a picture at the end, so don't draw any pictures because we need to keep going on with it tomorrow. And remember, if you're stuck with spelling, you don't know how to spell a word, you've got to use your phoneme fingers. So get them behind your back and make each sound in the word, and use your thrust chart to help you, and also your meow words. So you all have these at home. So the meow words are all here. So if you don't know how to spell one of the words like which, you've got which already at home. So use these to help you with your spelling of your meow words.